we made it here. Day one, Norbeck Dam Trailhead to start my through hike of the Centennial Trail. The weather's been pretty spotty and dodgy on my way down here, so let's just see what today has in store. Let's get on trail. Getting my first mile underway, get a little warmed up, get the body moving after being in the car for 2 hours driving down here in the shuttle. The weather's been a little bit interesting here. It's been snowing in Hill City this morning. I thought it was snowing down here my whole way down, but it has not. So the start of the trail is in Wind Cave National Park at the Norbeck Dam Trailhead. Kind of threw my original plan maybe slightly out the window, just depending on how the weather shapes up today. I'm just glad it's not raining right now. And Wind Cave National Park is gorgeous. It is extremely beautiful here. And it is just starting to rain here a little bit, but I do believe it is supposed to stop within the next several hours here. Shout out to Bridget and John from Roaming Around. They were there to guide me this morning when they picked me up at Bear Butte. It was raining cats and dogs, and she gave me the info and stuff so I could pivot my plan a little bit to make me a little more comfortable. They were very accommodating and eased my mind a little bit. And the weather got better and better as we traveled down here. I am going to crank out some miles here to get my body temperature up and get warm. These guys are tricky to get around. They're walking right down the center of the trail. And every time I try to kind of go up and around to get around them, they just keep on lazily moving down. So I need to find a spot where I can kind of move quickly and get around them. That was no joke getting around those big boys. And then I had to climb a hill, brought them down the trail a little bit. They followed, like I was a distance away. I went, they went, and then I boomeranged back and then dodged up a hill on the other side of a rock and finally got around them, but it took me a minute to get around them. They like hanging out on the trail. They don't know I got places to be. My first set of mittens got wet. My under mittens. I have my rainproof ones on, which I should have put those other ones and then these on in hindsight. However, I was trying to navigate around the Bison. So my thought wasn't to take my pack off and grab these out of the top of here. So my other mittens are wet, but these actually are working great, just kind of as is to keep my hands warm in here. So I'm pleasantly surprised. They put these heavy duty trail markers in because the bison come up and rub up against them and will knock them over if they're the little flimsy ones, but not sure what happened here, if a bison took that one out or if something else happened there. It just dawned on me in my eagerness to get on trail that I did not do a good job explaining the trail. So the Centennial Trail is a 125-mile through hike that starts in Wind Cave National Park and goes through Custer, Black Elk Wilderness, and a national forest, I believe, and then ends by summiting Bear Butte in Bear Butte State Park. I am hoping to accomplish this trail and summit Bear Butte on day 6. That puts me at around 20-ish mile days, give or take. Wind Cave National Park check. Now I am entering into Custer State Park. I've got 9 miles to get to French Creek Horse Camp, which could be an option for me to camp at tonight. I'm gonna just see how things go and see if I get there. I'll maybe talk with the camp host, get some options, and then maybe push on to Legion Lake. Thought I'd take a second to share my little road trip that I made out here. So I made the 9-hour drive from Minneapolis out here yesterday. Man, that drive is was long, kind of boring at times. I tried to find stuff to keep myself occupied. Huh, thought the Rocky Mountains would be a little rockier than this. That John Denver's full of shit, man. What the heck is wall drug? I did end up figuring out what wall drug was. I haven't seen the bumper stickers on people's cars. I never really knew what it was, but as soon as I crossed the Minnesota South Dakota border, maybe even before that, every 10 feet there was a sign for wall drug. So my curiosity got the best of me, and I did veer off. I had to use the restroom, so I'm like, I might as well go in there. So I stopped in there, used the restroom, and promptly left. But all in all, the road trip out here went great. I stayed in Sturgis last night. I stayed at the Sturgis Motel, and then I met my shuttle driver, Bridget, from Roaming Around this morning at 5 a.m. at Bear Butte. And then she passed me off to John about halfway, and then I got in with him, and both of them were just, of course, a wealth of knowledge on the trail. So it was really nice to hear their guidance and tips for getting the trail underway. Just stopping for a little lunch. The rain has stopped for a second, but I'm gonna eat pretty quick and then get back on trail. As soon as I stop or slow down, I get pretty chilled pretty quickly because I'm sweating a little bit under here. I've also noticed there's quite a bit of poison ivy around here. It's little yet here, but there's quite a bit of poison ivy, so I'm just trying to be really careful not to get into that either. But gonna eat a little bit and push on down the trail. Found more bison. 1, 2, 3, 4 that I see. Route around this way. They're right down by the trail. Safely made it to the other side. They really do like hanging out in the trail. That's the trail right there to the left. They just were hanging out in it and moved. Luckily, I was able to go up and around over here. I'm gonna get back on the trail and get out of here. Look at that. They must have knew I was coming. My first big misstep of the day. I came through right down here is the 2-mile marker to the French Creek Trailhead, which I passed, went up, saw the bison, went around. All of a sudden, I came back down and I got off the trail a little bit, and then I worked my way back, right back to that sign. So, no idea where I veered off. I pulled up the map and it does look like there's a wildlife loop. No kidding. Saw the bison. But here I go again. I'm still 2 miles away from French Creek, and I took probably a 2-mile plus detour. Hate when that happens. I'm going to watch my map like a hawk through here. I'm guessing the trail splices somewhere here, and I missed it and just went right instead of left. I just checked my video from when I filmed that tree pile before, and it was exactly an hour ago. So wherever I went, I detoured for an hour. So that had to have been at least 2 to 3 miles that I added on to my day. So dumb, I found my mistake. So I came down this way. The bison were right here before. And I went up, over, came back down, and then I thought I confirmed I was back on trail here, but I don't think I zoomed in quick enough, like far enough into the dot. Coming back down through here, trail goes straight through here. So I should have routed around the bison that way opposed to this way, which I started going that way and then I confirmed the trail was over here. So I don't know if maybe just like the dot hadn't caught up and I made a quick decision and then put my phone away, but double check those maps. Walking through French Creek horse camp. Well, I think the camp is up here, but this is essentially where the horses camp. Hey, buddy. Just at the French Creek camp and used the restroom. They have flushable toilets here. That bathroom is amazing. It's heated. It's immaculately clean. I wanted to camp there tonight. It would have been awesome. I am going to push on. I just called to Legion Lake and I got a campsite there. I'm going to push on another 6 miles. If I were to camp here, which I think I could, it's just going to put me too far behind to get to, I'd have to make up miles to get to my resupply. It's just going to put me at doing really high miles for the next 2 days. So I would like to push on another 6, get to Legion Lake. And I'm also going to fill up my water here. So I'm gonna fill up, and then I think I have a creek crossing coming up as I come out of here. It's just so gorgeous coming through here. It's just so pretty. Today was not my plan to stay in Custer. There is no dispersed camping in Custer. So I could either stay at French Creek Horse Camp, or I could make it another 6 miles to Legion Lake and camp there. So ultimately I wanted to push 6 more miles to get there so I didn't have to make up the other miles to get to and resupply at Whispering Pines. I just had my first people encounter of the day. I ran into 2 people at the French Creek crossing. Shout out to Calvin and Deanne. It was nice meeting you. And they're out doing a hike with their dogs, so it was fun to sit and chat with them for a little bit. I'm going to correct my last statement. I did see another person almost on the trail today, I guess. I met Trey at the Norbeck Dam Trailhead. He was just getting started on a day hike. We chatted for a little bit at the trailhead before I got started. People count 3. Just coming up a little rock scramble here. The trail actually goes this way from here, but I've been cruising up it. It's got me remembering and feeling all the feels from the Adirondacks. This hill is kicking my ass. I have my rain jacket off for the first time today. It's been sprinkling on and off, but it's held for a little bit. And then after doing that rock scramble, I was so warm. And then I thought it was a good idea to just take it off so I can let my underlayers here breathe and dry for a little bit as I roll into camp. When I have long days on trail like this, you know, the weather and unnecessary reroutes, I remind myself that this is a get to, not a have to. Earlier this year, I didn't know if I'd be able to make this trip. I planned everything almost down to a T. I've been struggling with a back issue for about a year. And earlier on in the year, I'd started kind of chasing more aggressively an answer to it, why it's not going away. I've done so many things. At one point, just physical exercise was putting me in more discomfort. And I just thought, you know, I wouldn't be able to come out here and do this, but I've seen so many different providers and specialists about it. And I've been cleared that essentially, you know, hiking and physical activity isn't going to make it worse, meaning like deteriorate my disc or anything further. It's really just typically the more activity I do, the more discomfort I'm in. I sleep on ice every night and I won't have that out here, so I'm just gonna have to manage through it. Like most things, the only way is through. All right, so this isn't freaking me out at all, but Badger Hole Trailhead 1 mile, Legion Lake Lodge Campground 1.5, Iron Creek Horse Camp. That was where I originally was going to try to get today, but I'm going to do the 1.5 to get to Legion Lake Campground. Made it to my campsite at Legion Lake Campground. This will be the home to my tent here shortly, but what I'm going to do first is I'm going to get my stove set up and I'm going to boil some water, and I'm going to do some Texas State Fair chili tonight, packet gourmet. I'm going to get that going, and then I'm going to put it in my little cozy here to keep it warm, and then I'm going to set up my tent. So I already put my puffy on because it's pretty chilly. So I'm gonna get some water boiling and we'll get this going. I'm gonna take 1.5 cups of water. There we go. All right, we oil. Get this a little better. Press air from pouch. Feel and shake. Oh boy. Let's see how. Okay. Yep, didn't get good seal on that. Dang it. Let's try this again. With the mittens, I don't know if I could feel that it was sealed very well. Okay. Okay, I think that's good. All right, 10 minutes, I will have dinner. Let's set up the tent. All right, got the tent set up. Dinner is ready. Give this a try. This kept it nice and warm. It actually took me a lot longer than 10 minutes, not just to set up the tent, but I had gotten chili all over my gloves, so I ran down to the bathroom and I got water. I cleaned and blow dried my gloves, and then it started raining, so I'm like, I better set up my tent ASAP. So I got the tent set up. Probably not the best pitch I've gotten on the tent, but I was in a hurry. So I'm gonna give this a whirl. It's pretty good. And it's hot, so that's nice. I'm gonna go ahead, eat this chili, and then the bathrooms are heated. I guess there's showers in there, so that does make sense, but it's pretty amazing in there. I'm pretty cold right now, and my hands are pretty cold. My feet are wet and cold, so I think I'm gonna go sit in some like a hot shower, and just get my body temp up, get my warm clothes on, and then come get in my sleeping bag and just try to stay warm. Just getting set up and relaxing in my tent. I'm going to be going to bed here soon, but wanted to kind of recap the day. It really turned out to be a great day on trail. I was so anxious on the way down here with the snow reports and thinking I'd be slogging through slushy snow, and sleeping out in that, setting your tent up in it, and all of that just kind of made me a little anxious to kind of go right into that and start day one. But it did rain the majority of the day, but it wasn't as rainy as it was at Bear Butte when I left. So, and it helped that it, only started sprinkling when I set up my tent. It's always difficult when you have to set up your tent in the rain. Being at this campground has been nice as well, because they have amenities here. They have the, bathroom, I have water, I have a picnic table to sit and eat dinner at. So it was a really nice way to ease into this, I guess. I did learn that bison are very scary. I knew that I would have to route around them, but until they're in front of you and you're alone in the wilderness and there's nothing between you and the bison, it's pretty scary. I'm glad I got to experience it, and now I know what to do a little bit more, so can add that to my hiker resume. The Centennial Trail is just a very beautiful trail. I also learned that my new favorite scent is Ponderosa Pines. I kept getting whiffs of it throughout the day, and it is amazing. It's my new favorite scent. I'm just gonna relax a little bit more, head down to the bathroom, brush my teeth, and then call it a night. And I will see you back here for day 2.